Welcome back to Persephone Says. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about hiring and building a team that you don't have to babysit. I've talked a lot about our trials and tribulations of building a sustainable team. I have learned the hard way, for better, for worse. I guess it's better to learn it now than multiple years from now. But I wanted to share what we're going through and what we've refined our process to be, what I'm looking for, and hopefully maybe you can take some of this and share it or implement it, etc. Right now, we are growing our team from an account manager perspective, specifically, account managers. It's basically project management. At this point, and I've shared this in the past, but it's worth noting, I don't have the capacity to train in the sense that I don't have the ability to train people to communicate properly, obviously, but they need to either have agency experience or extreme knowledge of the wedding and events industry, specifically in the luxury space. It's just too costly and frankly just doesn't work with our clients and their expectations. We need people to be like ready to go and click in. And that's obviously a very specific person with specific criteria. And I've been interviewing, I have 10 interviews set up for next week, and I've already interviewed 2 or 3 people over the past couple of days. I wanted to share some of the questions that I ask and also share what has worked, like what has worked really damn well for us, because man, oh man, it was really dark there for a moment and we were just hiring warm bodies. So anytime you're hiring out of desperation, that just sucks, right? And we aren't in a place of desperation. However, we are in a place where it's feeling a little tight. And I like for my employees to have more time and space. And we had someone who I love so deeply move on after 5 years. And so obviously we're all kind of jumping in to make sure that the experience is streamlined and that the clients really don't know any different. But it requires more of me and my executive team to have more face time in the process in order to keep that fluidity. And at this point, again, the job is the job, and you need to have someone who, in my opinion, if you can afford someone who has the skill set already, that you can then mold them into doing things your way, glorious. For me, teaching the wedding industry is actually far more laborious than teaching social media. So what I have found, some of my best employees come in with that experience, and we need to teach them. They've been past planners, past designers. They know how to project manage because they've been managing so many projects. They know who the key players are. They know the layout. They just haven't worked in an agency capacity. And frankly, if you're a designer or producer, you have taste, and taste is required in marketing, right? Strategy is actually required in all sorts of eventing. And so there's just a really clear thread line for me on what a great client, or what a great employee rather, would be for us. Now, one thing that I found yesterday as I was interviewing these 2 people, one had extreme levels of agency experience, literally nothing I said to her. And by the way, I don't actually think that going into an interview with like just your basic ask questions is helpful. I want to be able to have a conversation, you explain things in your own words, and then just ping pong the discussion to understand, do you have the skill set? Are you going to be afraid to work with me? Because you will be working with me. All of our account managers, I'm creative directing a lot of everything that we do. And so you will work with me. So are you going to freak out about that? Or are you going to be confident and poised when you don't have the answers, or when you need to do some research, et cetera? And this one woman that we interviewed yesterday had all the great agency experience and no the wedding industry experience. And her answer was so perfect that I wish I could have just plastered it to my forehead, which is like, I'm so dedicated to learning and teaching myself on off hours in order to get up to speed. I'm like, perfect. Because I shared my biggest concern. And I also think in interviews, it's important for you to not bullshit people. I had concerns. You have no wedding industry experience. What are you going to do with that? And she just took it and ran with it and expressed that she already had taught herself marketing, and that's how she was able to obtain all of this. I'm talking deep, excellent agency experience. Again, I think at this point, like step one is just having a call, right? Step two is then for us twofold. We give them a prompt to understand how you work strategically. So this person will move to the next round, and it's basically show us like, this is our client, this is the client brief, and build out a content strategy. And there's performance marketing, there's branding, there's all sorts of different things. Show us your brain. And at this point, like, we have a lot of very long forms and things because anyone can like Claude or ChatGPT, anything, but there is a way for us to be able to read between the lines. And I think you'll very clearly be able to see from a creative perspective, from a design perspective, like where people fall. And honestly, our forms are quite long on purpose because a lot of people aren't willing to take 5 to 10 minutes to provide thoughtful responses, which is fucking crazy. Like, the job market is rough out there, but yeah, you don't want to do anything to make yourself stand out in any capacity. And I could tell, I was going through all of these different applicants this week, probably 25 of them. And like, you can see every single time when it is ChatGPT versus when it was just like written from like the heart and the gut. And those are the people that I proceeded to the next round to interview with me, if their experience, of course, aligned. So that's step two. Step three is something that my dear friend Andrea Cole, who now you have met here, shared with me. And it's basically this personality test that you can so clearly see if the job and this person like match up. And she has been saying to me for a while, like, do not hire another fucking person until you give them this test, which I now understand. Especially, she gave me some results of people that like almost got through that. Basically, they answered for themselves that they were unmotivated, not good team players, lazy, like basically unqualified for the job. Which, how many of us, whether you're working for someone else or you're a business owner, have hired someone that you're like, oh my God, I love them so much, and then it just totally fell flat? She gives this to people, which is now our new process, like right after she's ready to give them, like the step after that is an offer. And that is such a wild thing because I operate from a place of good intention, right? I would like to think we all do. But so many people can really fool you by the things that they say. I had another interview of someone who made it clear that they removed certain pieces of their experience off of their resume, which was like a bizarre thing to share with me. It was just strange, right? And I also think, and forgive me if this sounds bitchy, maybe don't forgive me, this is just what it is. My expectations of our employees are exceptionally high because our clients have exceptionally high expectations of us. In this interview, this person had lots of ancillary experience. I won't share, I don't want to over disclose. However, no marketing experience. And she was like, I just really wanted to try marketing. And I'm like, the way we write everything is you have to have this many years. I don't even know, honestly, how I must have accidentally selected this person to interview with me. That was my bad. 15 minutes of my life down the toilet, but it's fine. In the conversation after I discovered this was not going where it needed to go, this is where I think, again, you really need to stop bullshitting people or make them feel a certain kind of way or make them feel overly hopeful. I just cut it short, not in an obnoxious way, but just, hey, these are my expectations. You have incredible qualities, but you don't have this thing, and this is a non-negotiable for me, so I appreciate the time and be done. And I think that just saves people time and like the mental gymnastics of doing an interview on both sides. It's exhausting, right? It's like speed dating, but worse. Okay. So I wanted to also share that once we bring on an employee, we've now created so much structure so that we're not just throwing people into a new client or a new build or anything, which frankly was the way I was hiring and onboarding new clients at the exact same time. Oh my God. When I think about how I used to operate, I think I've shared that my Aura Ring said that in 2023, my average stress level was averaging about 4 hours of stress a day. I understand why. Can you imagine? I spend so much time selling and creating a relationship and building reputation, all to just dump it in the ground, like literally light that shit on fire by onboarding an employee and a client at the same time. What was wrong with me? We know. Now you know. If you don't, go back a couple episodes. At this point, we have, I believe it's a 60-day onboarding process where it's like we have them in our systems and you get to meet with all of the like key individuals that you're going to be working with. And we've created community because I have a fully remote company, which is really tough for anyone who's working in that space, like of either fully remote or partially or what have you. It's really important to have people with positive attitudes and outlooks because they can turn against you and have side conversations that almost attack you. It happened to me. So I think just giving people the space and time to then understand who our clients are and to read up on the clients that they're going to be working on and to also practice. So we give people space and time to practice doing a 360 deck, doing an onboarding, talking to clients, like shadowing different team members so that there's a cadence to this so that we are in a good position. But again, the key is that the people I'm hiring are absolutely so confident, even if they don't have the answers. And I think that is a really paramount point to underscore here because I don't like micromanaging. No one does. No one's ever going to raise their hand and say, I love micromanaging. It fucking sucks. But making sure we're hiring people who know that they're going to be held accountable, know that we're watching what is transpiring all the time. I edit the company all the time. I've tried to explain how I operate to Eddie, and he was just like, I don't exactly know how, but we have Slack. So I'm always looking in Slack. I'm always looking at the content and the conversations that are happening. I'm always looking constantly throughout the day on what my team is producing and the conversations that are being had or entering those conversations or joining brainstorm sessions. It's just, I guess, a little slice of chaos that is important in order to have a pulse on what's happening in the virtual four walls of my business, right? So the other piece, so again, now this employee has come on, they've been onboarded, they've been shadowing. They need to be able to hit the ground running and in their off time be researching obsessively the industry, any new things that are happening, working in brainstorming sessions, like working on content builds, jumping into performance marketing conversations so that they have exposure. I think that's really important no matter what the role is, having exposure into all the different teams and departments so that you understand who do I need to go to whom for, just like connecting with people, even if it is through Google Meets. I think that's really important. We also like to just make sure that even at the interview process, I'm very clear with my expectations, which is over communication, transparency. Even if you feel like you're stuck on something, like you need to say it and wave the flag. You're not operating in isolation. And yeah, clear communication. I'm like, and what else? Yeah, those are just like, and doing your best. I don't know. It's the fucking basics, right? But it's so wild, the stories that I have of people who have like absolutely duped us, who I want to say had good intentions, but like I'm talking duped us with whatever they've written on their resumes, their portfolios. Maybe they're just great interviewers. Oh, and I forgot to mention one last thing. We call references. I didn't call references for the first 4 years of my business. That was so stupid. Like, it takes 2 seconds to make sure that this person isn't a psychopath, which I know you can't legally say, but you can definitely pick up vibes from people. especially in their response times. Really important. And then from there, we're constantly checking in to see what our employees need. So, are they feeling overwhelmed? Of course, the first couple of weeks, everyone feels overwhelmed at a new job. I think that's normal. But once they start to get into a flow and we're starting to like bump projects to them, how are they? It's almost like literally serving the ball. That's what I think I'm doing if you're watching a video. Tennis moves, if you will, because they need to be able to be proactive. That was my third one. They need to be proactive in all senses of the word, so that they can pretty much predict what that client is going to want, expect, say, etc. And I've just found that you have to just be so clear in your communication. And if you are running behind on something, I think it's so much better to just be like, I need an extra moment to do our best work. So yeah, I think the last thing I will say, and this is something new that we're going to start doing, which I haven't really done up until this point for quite some time, is I've come on here to wax poetic about my incredible team, I think all year long, frankly. And I want their blessing in the next interview so that they catch, especially I'm talking about other project managers or account managers on my team who have been here for a long time, who are exemplary of all of the things that I want in a future employee. I want their take because their questions that they will ask are different from the ones that I'm asking, because they're more practical questions that they'll be able to sniff something out. And I don't know, I think it's really important for the company culture as well, especially since it's remote work. So anyways, that's just a pulse as to what we're up to right now. And I am always wanting to learn better ways of doing something. So if you have a better way of hiring people, that old adage of fire quick, hire slow is so accurate and so obnoxiously accurate. I do think that good people will find you if you treat great people with respect, success, and set them up for success and pay them properly. And yeah, that's where I'm at today. I hope this episode was helpful. And until next time, see you soon. Bye.